Hello, and welcome to a Pokemon Showdown live. Pretty cookie cutter this time. I'm just going to be laddering in Ubers. This is Aberforth, if no one knew. I've got a name change, I'm no longer Pomman. And I don't really want to cover what's happening in Smogon. It's just, the Grand Slam has started up if you're interested in that. The UU Open is open, and you can sign up for that, and a couple of other things like UU are suspecting Salamence, and LC are suspecting Drifloon. PU are still suspecting Machoke after the Dynamic Punch failed to go through proper vetting for a ban, and it's all pretty simple. There's nothing really to cover, so I just wanted to do a regular 25-30 minute Uber live where I can hopefully explain my thought process and demonstrate the way that people think when playing Ubers at a relatively high level. So I'm just going to pause it until we find a game, because apparently a minute of searching is not enough. And we get a game versus Total Returns. Now this is a team built around Substitute Darkrai, and I really enjoy this Darkrai set, in all honesty. I feel it is quite underrated, and just in general is very good. Now the main reason behind this is you can see the Xerneas switch in here, and then he has to take a Dark Void after breaking my substitute with Moonblast, and now he is incapable of taking me on efficiently because he's locked into Moonblast but he's asleep, and he already has to take a few turns before he can wake up. He's got a guaranteed sleep turn here, and he's likely to remain sleeping afterwards. Goes out into Arceus Rock. Interesting, we crit him there, that's unfortunate. But we've got a pretty decent matchup this game, in all honesty. DD Titar will sweep him if he doesn't play carefully around it, and go straight for Judgment. He's basically conditioned to go into Judgment already. I don't need to do anything else to him. And I will go out into my Arceus ground. Rock is not a common type you see in Ubers, so my team is relatively underprepared for it. I mean, I do have, what is this? Oh no, it's only two rock resists, but they're decent ones. And yes, good news is, despite the fact that he is a Cloyster, which is pretty scary to take on, in all honesty. Ah, nice, he just lets me kill his Arceus Rock. That opens up a pretty big door for me, in all honesty. I can potentially try and, sweep. And I'm just going to go Titar to break his Sash. If he chooses to go for Shell Smash, Mega Titar can live any hit. If he goes for Icicle Spear, well, we're not killed when we Mega, so yay, but we break his Sash, which was the main thing. And I can now just honestly go for a low kick and do a hefty chunk. Icicle Spear will not kill me, and I'll be able to outspeed him this next turn. He crits me there, and that thankfully does not come into play because he does not get another crit. He shouldn't be running Ice Shard. The common set is Rapid Spin, Shell Smash, Icicle Spear, and Toxic Spikes, and Stone Edge will kill, and it will do the most damage to anything that wants to switch in as a general. So if something like the Rayquaza or the Gengar chose to switch in there, they would take the most from a Stone Edge as opposed to a low kick. And Stone Edge into Earthquake will do a hefty chunk to Groudon as well, so that's pretty fine. Excellent. Now he goes out into Gengar here because he does want to Mega Evolve. My best player is going for Dragon Dance. If he chooses to choke and go for Protect, no, he does have Sludge Bomb. But yes, my best play there was easily going into, was not going into anything, it was going for Dragon Dance, because if this was a Protect or a Perish Trapping one, I could outspeed it. He wouldn't have brought it in if it was one, but the only way that I lived would be if he did not attack me. Any attack would have killed me. Shadow Ball, Hex would have killed me, and DDing would have put me in a great position. Go straight for a Protect. I'm just going to Earthquake. I don't mind if the Rayquaza comes in. I do have several things that can outspeed it and probably take it on. Yeah, if he's DD, he goes for a Draco Meteor there. That's excellent to see. I'm pretty confident that he's just going to go for an extreme speed here. I don't want my my Arceus just dying to that, so yes, I'm just going to go for Dragon Tail here. He could just switch into Xerneas, as he does. He can Sleep Talk, but I can go out into my Bronzong, set up rocks. If he's... I think that he'll probably double here, but Bronzong can take on anything relatively well anyway, so yay, he goes for Sleep Talk. Xerneas gets Moonblast. Most Xerneas only run Moonblast, so that's not exactly a huge achievement, but we can get up our rocks here, and I mean, I can recover on this thing if he goes for any well, move really. Rocks help me more than they hurt me, so I'm going to be definitely keeping them up. And he goes for Lava Plume, smart play, tries to get the burn, does not, excellent. We can just go for Shadow Force, waste as many turns as is possible. Now, this Xerneas now has a choice to make between going for Moonblast and going for Sleep Talk. The correct one is going for Moonblast in case he wakes up here, as he does. If he was locked into Sleep Talk, that would have been a bad decision on his part, but nope. I could just sack off my Arceus Ground here. It is highly unlikely to be able to do anything later on in this game, but Bronzong literally does not beat anything other than this Xerneas, so I can afford to just go out into it and click Jarable. Whereas, of course, my Arceus Ground could potentially just recover back up on this Groudon and then be able to kill everything from the position they're all at. Giratina is not needed. I mean, it's liked, but it's not needed. So he goes for Dragon Tail, puts me in range of Stealth Rock, and sends me out into a Darkrai. Now, I am lefty, so it's kind of iffy as to whether or not Dark Pulse would kill from here. So as a result, I'm going to go for Sub, just stall out a turn. In case he went for Thunder Wave, it would have been best. And if he went out into Mega Gengar trying to catch me with Focus Blast or something, then, well, I'd be behind a Sub. Also, any move that was not Lava Plume would have been inaccurate, and I could have played off that miss chance. He probably should go out... Well, he should... Yeah, he does go out into Mega Gengar. This does mean that he's risking a miss, but he hits. That's fine. You can't expect a miss, can you? Well, let's just go out into Groudon then. And the smartest play is definitely going for Fire Blast. The only question is to whether or not we can kill the Ray easily. We missed the Fire Blast, that's annoying. How much did that do? Did 92%. No, it didn't, because no, yes, it did, because I hadn't taken Rock's damage yet. Calc. So we can now just see how much this Rayquaza is at, or how fast it is rather. It should normally be capable of outspeeding things like the Primals at max speed, but this man might be going with a neutral nature. And Arceus Ground, Uber Swords Dance. I mean, my play here is very, very definitely Draco Meteor. It did more than that, I believe, or it got an absolute max roll, I think. If we go back up to where it was, 69.6. It's not unfeasible that it could have been that, so well, unfortunately that calc doesn't really tell me anything. It could be that it outspeeds me, it could be that it doesn't. Normally these mixed ones will run it'll run fire stab, fire coverage in the form of V-Create or something. I'm just going to go for Eruption. We connect, we do a chunk to this Rayquaza as he goes for Draco Meteor and kills me. It would have been smarter to just sack off one of my other things here, so going to go out into my Arceus Ground, and not all Gengar run poison coverage, is basically not all poison. Not all Gengar run Shadow Ball or something like that, or Shadow Stab rather. Shadow Stab? Ghost Stab. I think I've lost this game though. It's unfortunate, but it's what happens. And he goes on to Gengar Click Shadow Ball if he has it, and if he doesn't have it, then I'm thankful. But yeah, this just looks like a standard Protect 3 attack set, so I'm fully expecting Hex, which we live, and the Gengar does not go down. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but oh well, we lose. Let's just give this man the satisfaction of killing our final Pokemon, which is unfortunate. It's another loss to add to the record, but he played that one well and had a Rayquaza set that I was not expecting him to have. I was expecting him to be the standard SD set, or maybe, given that we are on the ladder, I was half expecting a Sash Dragon Dance set. Sash is not a very good item just because you can't reliably prevent rocks ever, and yeah, especially in Ubers, I would never run a Sash Ray. In general, I feel like it's just too inconsistent, as is almost any Sash user who is not a dedicated lead. And even then, like, Sash Deoxys Attack and Sash Darkrai are so much weaker than their Life Orb selves that I would almost never choose to run them. Yes, kind of unfortunate that the Focus Blast hit, but I mean, it's a Focus Blast hit. You can't really say that Focus Blast hitting is hacks. We're just going to pause until we find a new game. What the balls is this? What? Okay, thankfully I have Bronzong, which can actually take on Mamoswine. I'm just a little bit stumped at the whole Mamoswine on HO. As he goes for Taunt, smart play. Well, I mean, Sludge Bomb won't kill him, so it's just smarter to go for a Dark Pulse. He is Sash, of course he is, so he can get up a Spike as well, but we can defog against most of his offensive things. He goes out into his own Darkrai. I'm actually going to go for Sub. If we win the speed tie, we do. If he goes for Dark Void, he does. That means that we can get off our own Dark Void more safely. We miss, but he breaks my Sub. He's Life Orb. We miss again. That's... honestly, that's frustrating. Goes for Nasty Plot, as we don't wake up. It's really difficult to take on a Well, at least Mega T-Tar can take on a Darkrai. Gonna go for Dragon Dance. He gets the Dark Void, and we're not. He goes for Nasty Plot, just to add salt on the wound, and we get a 2-turn sleep. No, and well, if we can set up a DD here, we've still got a chance of winning. But honestly, this is missing those Dark Voids really hurt. I could have gone for Sludge Bomb, but Dark Void was smarter, as he goes for Dark Pulse, wakes up. He does not flinch me, as we get the Dragon Dance off, and I'm just going to go for Low Kick, then kill off this Darkrai, and then try and bring it back from this 5-5 situation after he goes out into E-Killer. E-Killer has to attack me, which is the good part of this. If he goes out into Mamoswine, this is harder to deal with, just because I can't immediately defog on that, as he does go into Mamoswine, which is the correct play. And honestly, it's not worth taking the extra damage, so yeah. I'm going to go out into my Groudon. Eruption is slightly more powerful than Fire Blast because Fire Blast got nerfed, so I'm just going to go for Eruption here. We kill off the Mamoswine. I mean, yeah, it isn't taking that. And he goes out into his Arceus because of course he does. We're just going to go for the Fire Blast. He cannot kill me with Earthquake. Eruption was not the play because we obviously are much lower now. And this is superfluous, this Groudon. We don't need it to win. We just need to get off this defog with this Giratina O. And then try and win with Last Mon Arceus, really. He misses there, but that's good. It shows me that he's his 3 attacks are Earthquake, Extreme Speed, and Stealth Rock. not Stealth Rock, they're Earthquake, Extreme Speed, and Stone Edge, which means that Bronzong can set rocks, and I can have Giratina in to die. And we can just go straight for a Shadow Force. The point of this is that the Groudon cannot set up 2 times on me. He can't go into Gengar because Protect doesn't work like that. Oh, Shadow Force failed. Yeah, I guess it fails when you've not got a target. Oops. That's a misunderstanding of a mechanic on my part. Should have known better. He doesn't have Wisp though, which is good. He has Destiny Bond. That's bad. The funny thing is though, if this is Double Dance with Edgequake coverage, we can actually still win this, but he's got Fire Punch if he's saying GG like this, so this is a bad start to a live. I'm annoyed at those Dark Void misses though, because that would have put us in such a good... I'm not even going to bother recording. Well, this is a more viable team than the last one, definitely. I'm annoyed at that last team. We won, obviously, I'm annoyed that people use stuff like that. Irrationally, like, people can use whatever they want to, I'm just a prissy bitch about it. We're gonna lead Titar just to... Oh, he's... Excellent. He's Scarf Kyogre. Because... reasons. Goes out to Arceus. Given that he is Scarf Kyogre... oh, by the way, given that he is Scarf Kyogre, I take back what I said, his team is equally as unviable as the previous one, so, yay. I can't kill you from here. What I can do is Wisp you. As he does the same? No, what? He's offensive Giratina? Oh well. As he doesn't get a Spadaf drop, which means we can set up a sub on this thing. As he goes out into Xerneas. I'm going to Dark Void this immediately. I feel like this is Geomancy, and it is Geomancy. It is slower than me, unless he goes for Sleep Talk here, which he does not. So Sludge Bomb will do a hefty chunk to this thing. We'll 2-hit KO it is what it'll do. As he wakes up, Moonblasts, and he's now in range of a Sludge Bomb, so it's all fine and good. As he goes on into Giratina, seemingly unaware of the fact that I can just set up a sub on this Giratina. As he rests with said Giratina, resting in the face of a Darkrai, so it can take the same amount of chip damage. I mean, he's no longer burnt, but this Dark Pulse is going to 2-hit KO him quite comfortably, even without the crit. And Shadow Brawl does not break my sub, so this Giratina goes down, and having been switched into 1v1 the Darkrai. Darkrai is now behind a substitute and a higher amount of health, so kind of feel like he made a mistake there. Goes out into Lucario now. We can just Dark Void this, because his Xerneas woke up, he's no longer got an immunity. He goes for Bullet Punch, as is his right, and this is a guaranteed turn, so we can just set up a sub. As he goes out into Arceus, that's the smart play. You can hear the dogs, I apologise, there's dogs in my neighbourhood. That's not Life Orb, that's bulky. Is what it is. And we can now go out into our Giratina, take the E-Speed, and I've got a choice between Dragon Tail and Wisping here, and honestly I feel like Wisping is fine. He goes out into Lucario, which is asleep. Good play, actually. All things considered. But this is still a guaranteed turn of sleep. So we can just hard switch into our Arceus Ground here. And now, because this is a guaranteed turn of sleep, we can just go for EQ. It was a guaranteed turn of sleep, it's no longer a guaranteed turn of sleep. As Xerneas drops. Yay. He can go out into his Scarf Kyogre here. He actually goes out into his Deoxys attack form. Deoxys doesn't OHKO me, even if it's Life Orb, and this is not a Life Orb set, this is a set, technically, but it's not a good one. As he goes for E-Speed, trying to prioritize me. Relatively smart play there. As I'm just going to go out into Tyranitar, take advantage of the sand, and kill him. As he goes out into Kyogre now. we can actually go out into Giratina, as he goes out into Lucario, which is fine. I'm just going to Wisp this. Lucario can't kill me from here, as he sets up an SD. And we hit the Wisp, which is always nice. He might set up another one, but we do have Dragon Tail. And now this Lucario is permanently crippled, as he goes out into his... oh, this is Trick. This is a Choice Bandit. It's... I almost want to say that it's a shame that Giratina doesn't work like that, because that would have been really funny. Yeah, Bullet Punch is doing nothing, as he avoids the attack and forfeits. So we'll get one more game. The first two games were pretty decent quality aside from the Dark Void misses. My opponents were playing well using good teams, so let's hope to get another one for the final game, and I'll pause it until we find it. Now, I want to give this man praise. He's trying a new version of the standard archetype of Salamence and Darkrai and E-Killer over the three that he's chosen on the Standard HO. I'm a little bit exasperated, but I'm at least optimistic about this guy, because he is at least trying to do new things. He's trying to use different Pokemon as opposed to just using the same old stuff. Annoyingly, Standard HO is such a good archetype that I might still lose to this, but let's try and ignore that as much as we can. We can lead T-Tar here, and he leads DOS as always. And unless he realizes that this is Dragon Dance, we could potentially get off a Dragon Dance and then a Stone Edge, as he goes for Rocks. Excellent. Some of these aren't carrying Taunt, so it's actually worth my while just going for a second DD. But there was a conversation in the Uber's Skype chat, and he goes out into Groudon now. This is offense. This is an offensive Groudon. I feel like it's going to die to Earthquake. It is a roll on some Groudons, but the more offensive the Groudon, the better in favor it is of the T-Tar. He lives, as we live the Earthquake, because T-Tar is a bulky guy. And now I'm just going to go for a low kick. I don't know why I did that. He goes out into Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh is not a switch into T-Tar. I feel like that shouldn't need to be said, but pivots into Lucario. Well, it's relatively obvious. I should have predicted that. That's on me. And I mean, this Bullet Punch is so obvious, but this T-Tar is kind of pointless. Actually, it's kind of useful if I can preserve it correctly. We can just go into Giratina and just defog though. So we've always got SD Arceus Ground, which can deal with this thing easily 1v1. So he goes for the Bullet Punch. I mean, no one was thinking of doing anything else, were they? As Ho-Oh is now in, and Ho-Oh is a bit of a threat, to be honest. I'm going to go for Shadow Force. I'll outspeed all but the fastest of Ho-Ohs, as he does reveal that he is slower than me. He won't die to the Shadow Force, but the combination of this plus the Brave Bird Recoil is going to do a hefty chunk to him. He's not Iforb, and Shadow Force is fine. Once more into Xerneas. I was actually thinking into Deoxys there, so he could guarantee his Stealth Rock, and then after Deoxys went down to the Shadow Force, he would have Rocks up, and that's interesting to note that he's actually faster than my Giratina. It doesn't change my course in this. I mean, I'm sacking Giratina, getting a free switch into Bronzong. Giratina is less useful in this game just because, well, I mean, look at his team. It doesn't deal with Mewtwo. It doesn't deal with Ho-Oh efficiently. Groudon is low already. I'm half tempted just to set Rocks, but I know that this Xerneas will 2KO me because it is HP Fire. Actually, I was actually thinking it would be something like Focus Blast, but HP Fire is, it's not good. But you can understand why people would use it. He goes out into Groudon here. I'm just going to go for my Rocks. If he lets me get them up, then that's appreciated. He does have Fire Punch, but Bronzong wasn't necessary for the rest of his team anyway, so yay. We can go out into Darkrai here, try and get up a sub. He's probably not going to allow it, but he does allow it, which is nice. And goes out into Ho-Oh here. And the correct sequence of plays here is Dark Pulse into Dark Void. Dark Pulse won't 2KO him, but it might flinch always. which is always nice. And I could Dark Void here, and I think I should Dark Void here in all honesty. Anticipating the switch into something. I didn't anticipate into Deoxys speed though. I was thinking he would be preserving this so he could get up his rocks later on so that my T-Tar would go down, now that my Defog is gone. Goes out into Lucario. This no longer has Justified, so a bit iffy on that. But you can break my sub with Bullet Punch and then go out into Mewtwo to threaten me, so it's not a bad idea on his end at all. In fact, it's a good idea. He goes out into Mewtwo, that's the correct play. If this is Aura Sphere, which it could be, this guy does look inexperienced just because of the build he's using. It's not optimal, and there's people might well use Aura Sphere. The reason you don't use Aura Sphere is that it doesn't actually have a great chance to OHKO Darkrai. He is Focus Blast, which is kind of upsetting actually to dodge that one because, I mean, you don't want to dodge hits when someone's using the right set. But he actually appears to be Specs, I think that is. Arceus Ground can OHKO everything from this point and he doesn't die to an Ice Beam. There's no point in setting up an SD because there's no situation in which that would help me. That is Specs Mewtwo. Again, that's not a terrible idea, it's just that, well, Mewtwo's so fast and so strong already with a Life Orb that making it Specs is kind of a waste of a Mewtwo, if that makes any sense. If this hits, we win. We win. Excellent. As he forfeits. But that guy had a much better team than the previous two guys had, and at least we finished this live with a win. And I hope that this has been somewhat helpful in terms of explaining the thought process behind some decisions in the Uber's ladder. Yeah, Aura Sphere, I can actually, I can get up a calc, can't I? Darkrai, Uber Life Orb versus Mewtwo, just regular Mewtwo, Timid Life Orb, Focus Blast is that much. Oh, it does actually, okay. Oh, that's right, it's Tyranitar. If you look at this is where the big difference comes in for Focus Blast versus Aura Sphere. Even if not many T-Tars are running that specific spread nowadays, because they can also check they can also check Ho-Ohs and Menses and stuff, so they're more often as a mixed defenses one, but I mean, yeah, that's not a good thing. That calc. Don't know why I thought the Aura Sphere wouldn't kill. Maybe I faced like a Sash Mewtwo and it didn't kill or something, and I thought it didn't as a result of that. But yeah, Aura Sphere is just generally not as good because Focus Blast actually kills all the targets that Aura Sphere wants to kill. Also stuff like Arceus Rock, Arceus Ice, and other Arceus forms that are weak to fighting. Gives you a stronger way of hitting things like Bronzong, and just generally it's more powerful, and the extra power is worth the extra accuracy. Is worth the loss in accuracy. God, I can't speak. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you all next time. Bye.